Anyway, I want to ask your guest if he ever considered astrology in evaluating these people.
No? Did you have a particular prediction in mind?
Well, if you didn't consider them, perhaps you could go back and you have a whole new book by considering, what their lives were, what their avocations were, and so forth and so on.
You interested in being a co-author?
No, but for a long time I have wanted someone to do a class, a study in school of children, take a particular grade, 6th or 7th grade maybe, and consider their astrological sign, and do some, teaching that had to do with whatever their particular sign, their aptitude was for that sign.
We do look somewhat at dates, but we haven't looked in that kind of way. We also looked at birth order. And a lot of people think it's going to matter if you're firstborn or secondborn or lastborn, but we found it didn't really matter, so it was not so relevant.
And whether you had a big family, small family, didn't matter?
Not really.
Interesting. All right, next up, let's go to DJ in Albany, Oregon on Coast to Coast. Hi, DJ, thanks.
How you doing, George and Dr. Howard? I have two questions. One, I've noticed when I've watched too much news on TV, you absorb too much of the negativity, and I've noticed that has affected me as well. And the second question is, what about people who have disabilities like myself? I have two bad wrists, and the pain sometimes gets so unbearable that the negativity starts coming in, and I try to focus on good things in life, and sometimes it's an endless battle.
Okay, well, in terms of TV, I didn't hear exactly what show you're watching, but a general finding of this research and other research is probably a lot of TV watching is not the healthiest thing to be doing. So for a lot of reasons, we really recommend people, limit their TV watching, get off the couch, and do other things. It's going to be healthy for you for a lot of reasons. In terms of chronic pain, it's true. It can really become a problem in a lot of different ways beyond the pain itself. There are a lot of good pain control clinics. Maybe you want to find one and, call your community hospital and ask them particularly about pain control clinics if you haven't already done that. Because a lot of pain can be brought under control, even severe pain these days.
Sure. There was a story of a guy who died. He was dead for a week on his couch watching television with a clicker in his hand, and his wife didn't do anything about it. She said he was always asleep.
He was always that way, yep. Well, that's a great, I'm going to use that example from now on. So.
All right, DJ, thanks for the call. Let's go to Teresa. She's in New York. Welcome to the program. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, this is Daunting. It feels like my first call because the first one I made actually was very weird. Once I was on like 20 seconds, your last call or first show. But anyway, I hope I make sense.
Okay, well, give it a try.
Well, I wanted to, I guess I guess there are sort of three comments, but you can comment on those. One is, I think it would be great for politics and for the current society if someone looked at how the healthcare industry can promote health, because it has really gotten off the rails. And but in my case, I got a serious illness as a child, which was understood better then. Now it isn't. But the point is, there needs to be more respect, more flexibility, and people need to have control over their choices. And because, and this is my second comment, whenever anybody says the word diabetes, I cringe. I have to change the channel.
Why?
Because I have type 1 juvenile since I'm a child. It's completely different than the lifestyle caused one. And when people say diabetic, I don't want to be called the name of a disease. Some people don't mind it. I don't like it. But
it's like if you have cancer, they call you, hey, cancer person.
Right. And then a lot of people see ads on TV about happy, just stick the meter and don't eat sugar. It isn't that. I can't eat anything except maybe non-carbohydrate vegetables.
Do you feel, Teresa, that your lifestyle's been cheated?
Not at all. I overcame all that, but I had my own way of not feeling trapped. But then the system got more and more controlling, and then I went through 8 years being in the hospital from bad care. Everything collapsed at once, and I'm stuck in New York City. But
are you winning?
What?
Are you winning the battle?
I need prayers. I mean, there's a lot more going on, but I crawled away from the worst. But they assumed I was ignorant and eating wrong. I have so much discipline to make it decades with this, with no help.
How old are you now, if I can ask?
I won't say, but I'm middle-aged.
Don't be embarrassed about
that. But, I mean, it's a long time. I have it about a drop longer than Brett Michaels. And he's a good guy.
Okay. Hey, we're going to run. We're at the break already. But it sounds like you at least have it in control. That's the important thing. Final questions on the Longevity Project when we come back on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back. We're with Howard Friedman, the Longevity Project. Howard, what would you do differently if you did the study all over again, if anything?
Well, I mean, one thing we couldn't do because we weren't there was back earlier in their lives to collect a lot of more physiological information in terms of what's going on in their blood and their blood pressure and those kinds of things. So that's kind of missing from this study, and so what we're doing is now pairing up with other researchers where we can get that information on again, in longitudinal long-term studies to try to piece together different studies to fill in the gaps. But I also want to say in response to just briefly about the last caller, she's a very brave woman, and she's absolutely right that we need a lot more respect in our healthcare system. And in fact, at the end of the Longevity Project, there's a chapter, an epilogue about implications for our healthcare system. So that's something that a lot of people do suggest, and we do take that up. We think it is important to use some of the findings to try to improve and reform how we deliver healthcare.
Okay, very good. Next up, let's go to Dave, Riverside, California. Hey, David, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, George?
Great.
And Dr. Howard, how are you? I wish you both longevity and happiness. George, I'm a long-time listener from back in the days of Art Bell, like the previous lady. I have one kind of funny point to make. Dr. Howard had spoken of men with divorces and going from wife to wife and whatnot. Now, my dad, bless his heart, he was born in 1935, and he works every day still to this day. He works for the railroad up in Illinois for the Burlington up there, and driving the trucks that put the trailers next to the trains and whatnot, and the big cranes can put them on and take them right. The spotter, right? Well, now he's on his fourth wife, and oddly enough, I was sitting listening to you guys, and I was like, man, this is, my dad must be an odd cat because he's just the opposite of, he should have been dead a long time ago. You know what I mean? Because he's on his fourth wife, but now he's an introverted person, but he's got a heart of gold. So anyway, I thought that was a little opposite, but that's typical for my life. Okay. The second thing is, one of the things that you haven't spoken of, and I don't know if it's maybe data points that they never thought of, but what about the pet angle? I've heard that people with pets, or people who like lap pets, like cats, specifically dogs,
right.
have, that stroking and caressing them actually brings down blood pressure. I mean, did you guys do anything in that realm? And thanks a lot, George and Dr. Howard, and I'll take my answer off the air.
Okay, very good.
Well, that's a great question. We actually did look in some detail at playing with pets. Dr. Turman asked so many questions, and one of the questions was about would you like playing with pets? And we were able to look and see, did that predict how long people lived? And we like pets, and we know pets can cheer people up and make them happy in a lot of ways. And we didn't find any results in that way at all, though, in terms of longevity. So the people who said they played with pets, didn't live any longer than those without. So I'm really skeptical that pets can substitute for human contact. You know, pets are fine in their place, but for people who cut off human contact and just rely on their pets, at least from our study, it suggested that's not a healthy thing to do.
All right, very good. Let's go to Skype. Galloway, New Jersey. Lance is with us. Hey, Lance, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning, George. Thank goodness you're there, and Dr. Howard, pleasant to hear from you.
Sure thing.
I just within 11 months, I've had 3 surgeries on my right knee. March 1st of this year, I finally had the total knee replacement. My question is, what is the longevity of people with chronic pain post-implants of prosthetics? Because every night, I mean, even with the prescribed medication, Ambien, and taking some pain pills, I'm up. I don't get more than 4 or 5 hours sleep within a 24-hour period of time. I have NP, which is my wife's way of saying a nasty disposition, and it's like every night I get the pain wakes me up. And thank goodness I'm an avid reader and I listen to Coast to Coast. But in the study, people that had surgeries that had sustaining trauma, I've contacted the National Pain Foundation and the Johns Hopkins newsletter to find out whether or not I'm the only one that's dealing with this. But I'm trying to abate taking the medications, but I'm still not getting more than 5 hours sleep, and sometimes I'm just not a happy camper. And it's just, right now, I'm just sitting here rubbing the knee and grinding away on the scar tissue.
Well, just listening to what you're saying, you know, you said it yourself. You're not a happy camper, and so, you know, people in the Longevity Project who thrived, they took action at that time. So you're doing the right things. You know, seek out. A lot of universities have major pain centers, pain control centers, and look into that. Look into physical therapy. You know, take action is one of the lessons of the Longevity Project. You know, there are exceptions, a lot of variations. Not every problem can be solved. You know, we can't say that bad things don't happen. But the people who took action and tried, you know, with their families, with their support, they often did much better than they thought they would when they started out.
Would you say the good die young?
We didn't